Hello, it is September 23rd, 2016, and Suffolk County has now released officially the list of the cuts, and nothing's really changed from what they've released, more or less, but there's a few things that really have you scratching your head. They've released the cuts, which will take effect October 10th, 2016, and you know the list already that they are eliminating. The 1B, the 5A, the 7D, 7E, 10A, 10D, 10E, S35, S71, and S90. And of course, those last two routes, the S71 and the S90, are head scratchers as well. But this one will really have you wondering, what the hell were they thinking? Suffolk County Transit is also eliminating a trip on the S66 in the middle of the day and adding a trip in the early morning. So they're basically taking a trip away, the noon trip, from Riverhead to Patchogue is now eliminated on the S66. Now, if you know anything about the S66, it's crowded. And maybe for some reason the noon trip is not that crowded. I don't know. But every trip I've seen leaving Riverhead on the S66 has been pretty crowded. And you've got to remember that you're hurting the. Well, let me finish the list of changes. So the trip that they're adding is a 5 a.m. trip from Center Moriches to Patchogue. They feel like they need to add that trip in there, but they're discontinuing a noon trip from Riverhead to Patchogue. I don't know what happens now when the S66 gets in. Usually when the S66 gets into Riverhead, it turns around and heads back to Riverhead. So I don't know if it gets a break or it deadheads somewhere else or it goes back to the depot or interlines or something. I don't know. But this really has you scratching your head. These cuts, I mean, I have to say, the Suffolk County Department of Public Works is even worse than Nice Bus at this point, with some of the decisions they've made. And, you know, I really think that they took no thought into this. No thought at all. You know, there were other ways for them to reduce costs than doing this. They could have raised the fare, they could have used smaller buses, they could have discontinued other routes that aren't being discontinued, namely the S76 and the S110 Clipper. Those two routes hardly carry people. The S110 Clipper is basically geared to the office parks. The S76 goes to rich Stony Brook Village. Gee, I guess we can't hurt the rich people. But the S71, which serves Mystic Beach is a poor community, it's isolated, and now they're losing their route up north. And now they're going to have to take the S66 to Patchogue and then connect up with the S61 to go north, or the S66 to Riverhead and connect up with the S58 and the S62 to go north. And what about the college students? Boulogne boasts of having this new STEM center being built at Brentwood campus, but what about the people that aren't going to be able to get to school when the cuts happen? I think these cuts are preposterous. And I want to now go over, before I go to the map, I want to I have to say I have definitely given them my fair share of criticism in the past, but I have to say the Long Island Bus Riders Union is really stepping up to the plate this time. And I think now that they've had more experience and have been around for a little while, I definitely think they have their rhythm figured out, and I think they really know. They're out there riding these buses that are being discontinued. They're taking videos of it. They're speaking to the riders, and I really think they really are doing a great job now, and I have to commend them for it. And visit their Facebook page, like them. I know that I've had some serious disagreements with them in the past, but they're doing a lot more than a lot of other people are doing, especially the media, which just does not mention these cuts at all. You know, they did mention them a while ago, but I mean, this is something that should be the top story on the news, but it's not. It's not even mentioned on the news. So I want to just show you now how these cuts are going to leave people stranded. I went over my map a while ago as to what I would do, but I want to now go over some of that and how these cuts come October 10th are going to leave people stranded with no alternative at all except a scam cab. These poor people are going to get robbed now. But let's now look at the map. We're looking at a Suffolk County Transit map here, and I want to show you the impact of these cuts. All right. And I want to show you the S71, which by far is the real head scratcher, because that's a route that a lot of people use. All right, this is the S71 here. It starts in Stony Brook, and it serves a lot of colleges. You may say, oh, there's alternate service available on some of these areas. True, there is some alternate service, but it's still a heavily used route.
And you look at this S76 here, which runs between Port Jefferson and SUNY Stony. It doesn't even go into the campus, the S76. It doesn't even go in there. And it just goes to Stony Brook Village for the rich people. I don't get it. That doesn't get eliminated. The 71 is the only bus that serves the Long Island State Veterans Home. So unless they put the 3D, well, the 3D may serve that. I don't know if the 3D. No, I think only the 71 serves that. So those people are going to be left stranded now. And now, if somebody wants to go from, say, Stony Brook to, let's say, Stony Brook to Selden, all right, they're going to have to take the 3D, which is a crowded route, to the 58. It's going to take a lot longer. There's alternatives, though, for these people. At least there's some alternatives, except on these stretches here, but I guess that's close enough. Well, that doesn't make any stops on Nichols Road anyway. That was a nice little express run down Nichols Road, too, that we're not going to be able to enjoy anymore. But what about if you're going from Stony Brook to Mastic, Shirley? What about that? So now that you're cutting the S71, you are going to have, first of all, this stretch of horse block here is not going to have any bus service anymore. You'll have the 63, I guess, that goes to Patchogue. But the one bus that a lot of students, I think, from Suffolk community here take this, and then who take this between Mastic, Shirley, all right? Shirley and Mastic Beach. So now that the 71 is gone, you don't have anything going this way. You will have to go out of your way. Actually, you will have to take two buses, the 66, which is crowded. There are some runs on the 68 that people, I guess the 68. Now, why wasn't the 68 eliminated? That's another route that doesn't really carry many people from what I understand. And you'll have to take the 63 at Patchogue. At least there's an alternate, though. At least there's an alternate for some of the 71 riders. But Yaphank, there won't be any bus service now to the county offices in Yaphank at all. The only way you'll have to get there is by train. And this isn't really that. I guess you'd have to walk through the Pine Barrens from the 7B or the 68 or one of these routes here. It's not a short walk. It's quite a few miles. So that's the problem with cutting that route. All right. I still think the 71 should have been kept. Maybe its headways could have been. Maybe it could have cut the amount of runs, but it should have been kept. There were other places that they could have cut. Now, 7D and 7E hardly carried anyone. Despite being in Mastic Beach, most everybody took the 66. All right, but now what happens is, now that the 71 is gone, there's no easy way to get north from this whole area. You know, no easy way to get north. Let's say you have to work at Smith Haven Mall. Now you have to go and you have to take the 66 to the 63. Or the 66 to the 61 and transfer over to 58 at Coram Plaza over here, which is, well, you don't even see Coram Plaza. Let me move back up again. Coram Plaza is over here, which is a horrible place to transfer for a bus. Very dangerous over there. So, again, not many alternatives for these routes. There are alternatives, though. The alternatives are not pretty, but there are alternatives. Them cutting a 66 run is really a double whammy because, you know, you have the S90 being cut. And now we go over to the S90. And this one really has no alternatives, the S90 here. This area, Westhampton, Quogue, the 10D is also being cut. So there's not going to be any bus service in this entire area. And for everybody who thinks everybody is rich in the Hamptons, well, think again, all right? I've taken the S90. You have a lot of locals that take it to try to get to Riverhead. You have some students. You have some workers in the area. I mean, they have this whole industrial area over here by the airport. Those people now are not going to have a bus. So literally some people are going to lose their jobs because they can't get to work. They can't afford a $20, $30 taxi. That's how much they want. Some people are going to have to walk through the Pine Barrens. This is about a 2-hour walk all the way from Westhampton to Riverhead. You're going to have to walk along the road through the Pine Barrens to get there. All right? And it's not a pleasant walk in the heat, and that's what people are going to have to do. And it's going to be horrible, all right? Pine Barrens is a beautiful place, but if you've got to take that walk every day, trust me, it's going to be hard for these people. And this leaves Westhampton without bus service and all that stuff. So this is despicable. There was no thought given to this. They should have kept the S90 and the S71. Oh, and I've got to go to the 5A, too, because the 5A also is another cut that's stupid. You should have just used smaller buses on this route because, again, you live here in the senior community here in Ridge or need a bus along Randall Road, you're going to be walking through the Pine Barrens again for about an hour. Each way, if you're right in the middle, it's about an hour from each end. Maybe if you walk fast, it can be less than that. And again, with the Sound Beach, this is very hilly over here, so if you're elderly, forget it. You're not going to be able to walk. You're going to be stuck in your home. No thought was given there. I know you see the 62 here. There's only like one run in the morning and one run in the evening. It goes this way. There's no mention of rerouting or anything like that. So this is what the cuts are going to look like. When you look at a map and you see how these cuts are going to be, you're literally leaving people in the middle of nowhere with no ride. Oh, and I'm not done yet showing you just the impact of what these cuts are going to do. Yes, these routes have existed for many, many years, almost since the inception of Suffolk County Transit. So I want to take you on what it's going to be like for somebody in Westhampton now. Let's say there are a number of people who work in Westhampton that go to Riverhead. What it's going to be like now that they don't have a bus. All right, so you're going to have to. Let's say, I know there are a number of people who get on and off the bus here at this stop right here, Oak Street and Old Riverhead Road here and Westhampton Beach right here, right? So, this bus stop right here. There may even be somebody waiting for it on the street view. Let's see. Probably not, but we'll see. Where are we? Okay. This is looking south. Yeah, that's the bus stop right there. All right, so now imagine, all right, you work in this area here. And Westhampton Beach, by the way, is a nice little village. Let's just show you that. Show you the communities that are going to be impacted now. And the people that are going to lose their jobs and not be able to get to, Westhampton Beach at all. All right, so I'll show you Westhampton Beach. All right, so this is Westhampton Beach. Busy town. There's the bus stop, S90. So now imagine that come October 10th, this is going to be gone. Let's say you got to get to Riverhead. What are you going to do? There's no other bus nearby. You're going to have to ask for a ride, and these rich people over here probably aren't going to give you one. Trust me. All right. I remember once waiting 3 hours for an S92 in Flanders in the heat, and they just, nobody would give me a ride. I was about to pass out. Nobody cared. So I just had to wait there. But at least there was a bus coming. So imagine now you have to walk this now. You have to walk all the way up here. And this is not a short walk. Let's just go to the train station here, all right? So this is the road here. Take this up. Actually, that may not be the right road. I'm trying to follow the S90 route. I don't think that's it. Let me see. That's not it, no. Maybe I turned too soon. And this doesn't even cover the Spionk part of the route. So there's people who take it in Spionk. Not as many, though. Westhampton is the... Alright, so here we go. We're going to go north on this. So imagine now you got to go... This is going to be... This is just to the train station. Alright? I'm going to take you this. And I know this is a long video, and you're going to have to sit through it. It's too bad. Imagine what the people who are stranded are going to have to do. So, I'm going to continue all the way up here. Alright, this is not a short walk. Alright, no, that's Montauk Highway, but we're still not there yet. No, we're going to continue along here, and I don't know why the Street View truck just pulled into that, but anyway, continuing north here. All right, this is just a walk to the train station. In order to get to Riverhead, and the train service is not that frequent, you'll have to take a train to get to the train station. All right, here we are finally. All right, the train station's that way. Right, there's the crossing. Trust me, it's probably at least a 40-minute walk, half an hour to 40-minute walk just to the train station. You're gonna have to take the train to to either west toward Mastic Shirley to get to 66, or more likely taking it east to the next stop in Hampton Bays, and then getting the S92, which is very overcrowded. It's going to get even more crowded now. Oh, but what if the train doesn't work out for you? What if you have to get to work by a certain time and the train doesn't get there like the bus does? All right. Though the times that the bus comes in Westhampton, generally, I mean, there's a train. I know there's there's an eastbound train around 10:10 or something like that. But what if you need to get to work at 9? What about that? Most people start work at 9. What if you work here at this thing here? There's a lot of offices, believe it or not, here. An industrial park. What about that? You'd have to, I guess, maybe get a westbound train, but I think that westbound train, there aren't many trains. That's the bottom line. Very few trains stop if there's very little service unless they expand it. Your only other option, and this is your other option, and this is the option this is your walk. It's beautiful. Don't get me wrong, you're walking through the Pine Barrens, but this is how far you're going to, there's somebody walking. There'll be a lot more people walking along this road, and trust me, nobody will give you a lift here. You could be walking, nobody. The taxis are going to love this. They're going to love this. So you'll be walking along this for a while. Yes. So you'll be walking down this stretch right here, all right, and you got to cross Sunrise Highway, so we leave the street view, go here, you got to cross Sunrise Highway up here, so we'll cross Sunrise Highway up here, all right. I'll show you what it's like to cross Sunrise Highway. Man, this isn't the most pedestrian-friendly area, by the way. You got to cross Sunrise Highway, go up this bridge here, and they're taking the exit. But you got to go all the way this way, all right? And then go up to this circle here, and then you're going to have to walk up Old Quogue Riverhead Road into Riverhead. It's a long, long, long walk. Imagine this. Most people aren't going to be able to do this. The $20 taxi ride. It's only a 10-minute ride, but the taxis want a lot of money, so you have to walk all the way this way to get back into Riverhead. All right? But imagine you're in Quogue. Oh, Quogue. Yeah, that's right. They don't have a train station. So what's going to happen here, you may ask? You will probably have to walk over to the S92. That's my bet, which is all the way over in Hampton Bays. How many miles is that? I don't know. Let's zoom out. All right, it's going to be about 3 miles or so. It's a long, long walk. You'll have to walk up Lewis Road all the way up to Riverhead this way. But I think it's easier just to walk over and catch the S92. You'll have to walk. Let's show you what the walk from Quogue is like now. All right. So you have to walk all the way. All right, that's facing the wrong way. We've got to go this way. To walk all the way here. It's definitely about a 3-mile walk to get over to Hampton Bays to get the S92, but we'll show you what that walk's like. You want to put yourself in these people's shoes, what they're going to have to do, because their only ride has been discontinued, because Suffolk County doesn't give a crap about leaving people stranded by some of these cuts. All right? But you have to walk here. Oh, there are no sidewalks. So the cars don't slow you down. They try to hit you, if anything else. You're going to be walking all along here. Beautiful Pine Barren scenery, though. But you'll be walking all along here, continuing east, to get to the S92. And then when you get on the S92, you're going to have to stand because there'll be no seats, because it's crowded. Oh, here's why I don't like using this, but you get the idea. Well, it'll take you all the way to Westhampton. We gotta go all the way. Hang on, there's still a ways to go here, man. Still a ways to go. This is how far you're gonna have to walk if you're in Quogue. Oh, I know it's a rich area. Not everybody in Quogue is rich. And what about the people who work there? What about that? Yeah, this sometimes wants to be slow. About that. So let's see how far you got to walk here. Steve Ballone, he likes to run a lot. How would you like to deal with this? Huh? Oh, we're still not there yet. See how long of a walk it is? Look at this. Finally, you come up to the tracks. Got to go under the tracks here. And we're getting closer now. This is like 3 or 4 miles at least. These people are going to have to walk. So there are no alternatives to the S90 except a walk or a $20 or $30 taxi ride that these people aren't going to be able to afford. So we're almost there. Almost. This thing is moving very slow, but imagine what it's like to walk this. All right. And then still not there yet. Are we in Hampton Bays? Yeah, it's frozen now. All right. I'm trying to show you the first bus stop. I think there's a bus stop right over here, but this is how far you'll have to walk. So that's how far you'll have to walk. Yeah, I'd like to see Steve Ballone, or you know what? Let's see the Commissioner of Department of Public Works of Suffolk County take this walk. Let's see him do it. Hilly Road right here. Maybe it doesn't show you. Here's a good example. So here's a 5A bus stop right there. And now you're going to have to walk to the 62 up that hill, or down. These aren't roads that are pedestrian friendly. So I guess maybe it's another way of maybe getting poor people out of these neighborhoods, maybe by getting rid of the bus so it can just be for rich people. Another classic example of that, because these used to be blue-collar areas, and more rich people moving in here now, and I guess they want to get rid of the bus and force them out. So, yep, that's what's going on.
So, yeah, as you can see, this is an outrage. Suffolk County, Steve Bellone should be ashamed of himself. You know, there were other cuts that could have been made so this wouldn't happen. And we still don't know about what's going to happen next year. I tried to look at the Suffolk County budget today, and I couldn't find any information if they're going to make cuts to bus service next year in addition to what they're doing now. But some of these routes may not be missed, but I think that they could have saved a few of these routes. If they eliminated the S110 Clipper and they eliminated the S76, they might have been able to save some service on the S71. And they might have been able to save some service on the S90. But God forbid we could inconvenience the rich people who take those routes or who claim they need those routes. The S76, it runs. Let's take a look at the S76 schedule. You'll see what a waste this is.
Now you can see the S76 runs once an hour, hourly service between Stony Brook Village and Port Jefferson. So you have an hourly bus service hourly, and I think the S76 runs 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. So they keep that for these rich people in Stony Brook. S76 doesn't even go onto the campus. It stops by the train station, but it doesn't even go onto the campus. It shows you right here the S60 route. So this gets to stay, so the rich people in Stony Brook Village get to keep their bus that hardly anyone uses. But people are stranded in Mastic. It really shows you what's going on.
Yeah, and now let's look at the S110 schedule as well, the Clipper. There's barely any service as it is, but nobody takes this shit. Why are they still running it?
The Clipper, again, there's about three runs in the morning, four runs in the evening, PM. This is a route that hardly carries anyone. It serves mostly gears to park and ride. It doesn't even connect up with other buses. It park and ride is off Nichols Road. This is supposed to gear to the office workers in Melville, but hardly anyone takes it. But no, this doesn't get cut. Nope, not at all.
So they run that, but they leave people stranded on the S71, which actually carries quite a few riders, and the S90, which has no alternatives. I mean, what were they thinking? They weren't thinking. They don't care. Maybe that's the goal, is they want to leave people stranded. Aha! See, they want to leave people stranded because they know people will now be subject to their taxi buddies. How much has Steve Bellone received in campaign contributions from taxi companies? That's something we may need to find out, because you may very well see his name now on the cabs in Suffolk County, just like Ed Manganos is here in Nassau County. An outrage. An outrage. This is an outrage. And I hope that they restore some of these routes, eventually. People are going to be left stranded. It didn't have to come to this. It didn't have to come to this. But like I said before, I think they want to leave people stranded, especially people who are poor, because they want the poor gone. Let's take a look at what's going on in Suffolk County, in Brentwood. 4 people dead because of gang violence. All right, 2 young girls, and they found remains in the woods not that far from the Edgewood Preserve. They're not doing anything about it. The police say, we're doing something about it. They don't care. They want more crime to happen. They want more crime to happen in poor communities, so the poor citizens leave. All they want to do is put more and more illegals in Brentwood, so it's cheap labor for the rich people. That's what they want. They don't care how many people die. They don't care. That's corruption for you. That's corruption right there. That's what they want. They want to force the poor off Long Island. Like I said a million times before, you know what the end game is. So I want to move on from that to Nice Bus, they've restored some service. And I have to say, I think the community shuttles are working out very well. I know some people are going to disagree with me on this, but I think the community shuttles are working out great. I see people taking them. I was on a Montauk Hicksville community shuttle that actually got about 10 people, so people are taking it. I think the use of the minibuses is smart. Something that Suffolk County should have done, instead of just cutting all these routes, is expand the use of minibuses to cut costs. But Suffolk County didn't do that. A minibus is better than no bus at all. And I know Nice still has the breakdown problems, and I know they still have that. But I'd much rather still be depending on Nice Bus right now than Suffolk County Transit, because bad as nice as, and they have a lot of problems, obviously, and we're still much better off with MTA. It doesn't change the fact that Suffolk County Transit has now stooped to a new low with these cuts, even worse than Nice Bus has. That's all I have to say on that. The other thing with Nice is, it was an article in Newsday. Ed Bangano said something like, "Oh, we expect them to raise the fare 50 cents next year." I don't know if that's, I think there may be some kind of misunderstanding. The fares on Nice are going up next year because MTA is raising their fares. We don't know how much MTA is raising their fares. It might be a quarter, it might be 50 cents. But when MTA raised their fares, obviously it makes sense for Nice to raise the fares to go along with that. I would rather see a fare hike than any service cut, even if that fare is higher than MTA. I would still rather see a fare hike than a service cut. In Suffolk County Transit, I told them, they had their fare in Suffolk County is $2.25. They could have raised it to $2.75 to match Nassau County and maybe save a few of these routes. But they would rather leave people stranded. And I'll go right back to that again. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll follow that situation. But right now, I think that the real dunce here is Steve Bellone in Suffolk County. I can't believe that we found somebody who feels like he needs to outdo Ed Mangano. But that's exactly what we found. It's unbelievable. Some of these cuts that are being made. At least when Nice made the cuts, some of those routes didn't really have alternatives, but you still weren't that far from another route. S90, you cut the S90 in Westhampton. It ain't nothing. You're going to be walking 5 miles through the Pine Barrens to the nearest bus route. All right, that's what you're going to be doing. Most people aren't going to do that. They're either going to stay home. Hopefully, they're lucky enough to have friends who give them a ride, or get ripped off by a cab. Taxis. It's a 10-minute bus ride from Westhampton to Riverhead, but the taxis want like $20-30 for that ride. Taxis are scum. They rip people off. There's no regulation. There's no meters here on Long Island. Maybe you should think about having meters on all these cabs so they can't rip people off anymore. They need meters like they have in the city. But anyway, that's what I'm going to update you on in this Piney News update. We'll have more on this whole thing in October. And also, I wanted to actually talk about it at Piney News. We're going to probably do a special in the coming month or so. I can't say exactly when. It's going to be called On Fair Market Value. And we're going to talk about how high rents on Long Island are forcing the middle class and forcing not only the middle class, but people in programs to live in neighborhoods that are in decline. Because the neighborhoods that are safe and are happening, they're being kept out. And we're going to talk a little more about that as well. There's a lot of crap going on Long Island right now, trying to force people like me, these bus cuts. They're all part of it. They're all part of the big picture I've spoken about a million times before, where they want to make Long Island so miserable for the poor by cutting their services, by putting illegals and criminals in their communities, by making their lives so miserable, and by not allowing them into the neighborhoods that are nicer and safer and have more access. But they want us to leave Long Island. That's what they want. They want the rich. The end game is that the rich will have their safe communities, while the poor are forced off Long Island, forced because they are literally forced to choose between: am I going to get stabbed walking out the door, or by a gang member because I'm wearing a blue shirt, or am I going to leave Long Island and live somewhere away from everything, but at least I'll be safe and where it's cheaper. That's the choice people are having to make. Lived on Long Island my whole life. I really don't want to go anywhere. People keep telling me, you don't have a choice. This is the big picture. But I'm never somebody who accepts things. I fight. And I think people need to realize what's going on, and we can stop this whole end game by throwing out these politicians, these corrupt politicians on Long Island, on both sides of the aisle. All right? Preet is getting close to the governor now. So Governor Cuomo, they're all in on this. These people need to be thrown out of office. They need to be in jail. All right? And as far as this presidential election coming up, it's clear which candidate is going to continue the status quo, and which candidate's for the rich. You know it's Hillary Clinton. All right? She's for Wall Street. All right? Donald Trump is the only one looking out for the poor person in this country right now. The only person looking out for the middle class. Some people may laugh at that, whatever. And especially the minorities. Yes, he's out looking out a lot more for the minorities than Clinton. Clinton wants to keep the minorities down. Clinton is evil. All right, make that clear. And we have a debate coming up in a couple of days at Hofstra. I hope you watch it. It's here on Long Island. And I think that Donald Trump will tear Hillary Clinton a new one in this debate. The choice is so clear. And You know, when you have establishment people lining up behind Hillary Clinton, the whole establishment's behind it, I'll tell you something. Hillary's where the corruption's at. Hillary's where the rich people are contributing. Trump is where the people are at. So the candidate choice is pretty clear. I'm going to continue to endorse Donald Trump every time I'm here, because every one of you need to, on election day, need to vote for Donald Trump. He's our only chance. And if he does not win, then we are truly fucked on Long Island, maybe even across the whole country. All right, but certainly on Long Island, we're going to be up to our heads in illegals, and it's just going to make my life much harder. You know, these illegals need to go away. They need to go back where they belong. They're not good for this country. They bring gangs. You see what's going on in the news with MS-13 and all that other stuff. They bring gangs. They bring violence. All right, I have nothing against immigrants if they come here legally. But illegals don't care about the law. They broke the law when they snuck into the country. They broke the law. They broke the law. When they come here, they break more laws. They don't care. They do not care about our safety. They're here for cheap labor, and the Democrats want them for votes, but they're sucking this country dry. And you know what? People say, what did you do? You know what I mean? They'll say, oh, well, you know, what are you going to do? You're going to mow your own lawn when the illegals are gone? I don't know. We survived so many years without illegals just fine. We didn't need them then, and we don't need them now. And that is almost it, but I do want to, actually, I almost forgot. This was right in my hand, but I almost forgot. It's at long last happening. Hicksville is being renovated, finally. So that should be a nice station when they're done. You'll see here. It's being renovated. It's going to be beautiful. So I look forward to it. Hey, I don't plan on going anywhere, you freaking rich people and all these corrupt people on Long Island. You think you can force us out by cutting our bus service, by inundating our communities with illegals. But you know what? We're starting to rise up. We're starting to get tired of it. And our voice is going to get louder, and we're going to work together, and we're going to throw all you corrupt people out of office and put people in who represent us. That's it. Take it easy.